Aloha. Well, we got May May for the length of time we have her. All right, girl, settle down. All right, so what we got today is a thumbnail on tumors. You know what tumors are, kids? It's negative. How do you get tumors? Well, they say that you can get it through radiation. A lot of people, statistics are showing that, all right, a lot more people are coming down with tumors for the brain tumors. Now, 7 years ago, I Googled tumors. How would a phone affect you? Would it affect tumors? And it specifically said it. Yes, having a phone next to your head does give you more susceptibility to getting a tumor. Now, I told my cousin Jim about 7 years ago when I Googled what was the rate of tumors, which is skyrocketing, and it had something to do with Bluetooth earplugs. And he always walked around with the Bluetooth earplugs on. And I thought, wow, let me look that up. It was number one for giving tumors. Now I look it up because I wanted to be accurate as I could with you kids and whoever else is watching. How accurate is that now? No, I Googled it and just said, no, there's nothing to worry about. It's such at a low frequency of it's not even anything to worry about. All of a sudden, 7 years later, it's nothing to worry about. Where prior, see how they can change things on you? So I would say if there's a doubt about keeping a phone next to your head, I've never done that. Maybe on the rotary phones, you have to look that up what that means, the rotary phone. But ever since we got cell phones, because I used to feel in my hand, it got like weird. I had a feeling that anytime I had the phone in my hand, I was like, hey, is that radiation? I don't know. So I could relate to it if it's a possibility. So I've always spoken into my phone. I don't put it to my head. Just something to put on the back shelf if you want to go into that or not. So tumors can be now. Okay, Pythagoras knew about all these sound waves that Pythagoras was back in the day. He went to Tibet, he went to Egypt, and he learned a lot of things. What he learned was color and sound could affect you to where you could get healed. I'll have something on Pythagoras, but I'm just saying it goes way back, way back as far as they knew about vibration. So a hertz is a frequency. Like 1 hertz is 1 second. So if you have 100 hertz, that's 100 hertz in 1 second. So if you have whatever hertz it is, it's going to be within 1 second. So when we're talking about, I did a harmonics number 36, episode 36. I highly recommend you check out episode 36. Harmonics, I go into thought, word, and deed, how it does affect you. But I'm going to get into it even a little deeper now, because now I said whenever I find something that's more pertinent for to help somebody, I'm going to bring it up. So that's what we have right now. 432. That's what I went into. 432 versus 440. Well, right now, 432 is the ohm. Om. That is 432. And that happens to be the frequency of the universe, the frequency of this planet. Tesla said that energy, frequency, and vibration, if you want to learn what life is about, these are the three things you have to look into. Even at 0 Kelvin, there's vibration going on. So you have electrons, protons, neurons, atom cells, all vibrating. They all have a vibration. And nothing is still in this planet Earth. In the matter plane, nothing is still. Everything is accelerated. Even though we can't see it, we can't feel it, we now know by science everything has a movement to it. So energy emits a resonance and a frequency. And we've found now that cancer cells, Alzheimer's, anything, viruses, can be shattered through frequency. Now, it's through seismatics that a gentleman, Dr. Rife, the Dr. Rife machine, this is back in the 1920s, and he found that tumors, he made, you know what they do with rats and mice, they experiment on them. It's kind of negative, but what he found was he was able to induce in rats and mice the BX virus, excuse me, and the waves that he used with the Rife machine, a low frequency, eliminated the tumors in these. This is like back in the 1920s. So then you go to like 1934. Then you have Dr. Johnson, who did this thing in 1934 on his machine that basically it was 90 days. All you had to do on the machine was for 90 days. And these are people that were terminal with basically tumors, and they couldn't do anything with them. So they gave them over to this guy. Excuse me. So the deal was 90 days that they would go under the treatment. And they found 16 terminal patients. And out of the 16, through this wavelengths that they were hitting them with, 70 days, 14 of them were cured. And then the other 2 that were left, they were cured within 20 days. So we knew about back in the 34-ish time that we had this healing mechanism working. And I don't know, is anybody looking into any of this stuff? Just something to put on the back shelf. So we have high frequency, low frequency. And what this high, low frequency was done by Anthony Holland. And he was a music therapist that through frequency of high and low, it was called the 11th note in harmonics. And that would shatter cancer cells. It was 100,000 plus 300,000 hertz that would shatter cancer cells. Now this was done on people, and it destroyed the cancer cells 25 to 40%, and it went up to 60%. And it showed that it, by 65% of it, was slowed down these cancer cells. So we knew about it by that guy, Anthony Holland. Then we have MRSA that they were working on also. Kills a lot of people, MRSA. They usually get out of hospitals. They give you antibiotics, but then there's more things that happen. He was doing it on MRSA patients, and that was also being healed. Okay, so we got the sound and vibration and frequency. It comes down to when it's combined correctly. The ancients knew about it. Egyptians knew about it. They had machines. There's papyrus now. Somebody's got a hold of now that they were able to do the sound, vibration, and frequency to where they could cut rock down the middle like butter. And if you ever heard of the Sahara, the Saudi Arabia, Sahara, could be in the Sahara, but Saudi Arabia has 2 boulders. They're 20 feet high. And if you look it up, it's well known that they're like 20 feet high, but yet down the middle is a looks like a hot knife went through it, or a laser went through it. And then some scientists say, no, it was just by rain and water that came down. But no, it was totally smooth going down. There's no, it wasn't by nature. Somebody did it. And this is what we're talking about. This is how they try to explain that. These are some of the things, how it occurred. Okay, so what do we got next? I'm sorry, I got a sheet. I wrote a lot of this down. How much can you remember? Okay, the chromosomes. The damage by chromosomes by X-rays. We found Dr. Lee Artell through music, health, and education. He did Alzheimer's patients, Parkinson's patients, and bipolar people with vibroacoustics. Look it up. Vibroacoustics is a machine. It's a low E, which is 40 hertz. And they found that this has helped people with pain and also these ailments that I just mentioned. Now, I don't know why there's anybody looking into that. I guess it's another way of looking at it rather than taking a pill. I'm not saying pills are, I'm just saying there's always another way of looking at something. So then you have the next level, which I got to cheat again here, I'm sorry. Okay, a guy named Dr. Yarrow. He came from Oxford. This is back in 1939. He went to India, and then he went to Egypt. He became friends with somebody that said, hey, doctor, we got this Tibetan Lama. He's sick. Can you come and help him? So he went over to Tibet, got a hold of the Lama, fixed him up, and everybody became his friend. They brought him into some information that not everybody knows about. This is 1939. Go figure. So what they did was he was with a bunch of monks. There was a let's say 250 feet. There was a rock wall 250 feet up, and then there was a cave. There wasn't any way of getting it to it other than a bunch of ropes hanging down. There was they carved it out. They didn't really say how they did it, but this is what they did. They moved some rocks up into this hole. It was a 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters rock. And it was 19 musical instruments that they used. And it was 63 meters from the stone slab. So the 1.5 by 1.5 meter rack was 63 meters from going up into the rock. Now, they had 19 musical instruments, and they did an arc of 90% arc with 13 drums and 6 trumpets. And the monks began singing and chanting. And then, about 4 minutes go into it. And by the way, Dr. Yarrow had this all on camera. So it was after 4 minutes or so, the rocks, the 1.5 by 1.5 meters, went up into the air into the rock cave, 250 meters high, by the monks singing, chanting, and all these instruments going. Okay, so he thought he might have had mass hypnosis done on him. So he took two films of it, and both showed the same thing. It wasn't in his mind. He had it on film. And do you know what happened? Do you know what happened to that film? Yeah, I'm going to tell you. It was since he was working, he was working for the English Society. They took the film. They took it and they declared it to be classified. Why would they do that? I'm just asking. I'll put it on the back shelf. Maybe somebody can give me a comment on that. So they levitated these rocks by sound, vibration, up into the cave. And they did this like with a bunch of rocks, like quite a few in an hour. And, well, we've got more information on another team from 2015. Hey, now we're bringing it right up to our time period. So 2015, a team from Spain, Dr. David Deek, they were able to levitate small objects. So they got machines now that can move things around. What I'm saying is, this has been going on for a very long time, and I don't know why anybody's talking about it. That's why Uncle Martin's coming out and saying, well, by the way, the Dr. Lee Artell, with his the music, health, and education guy, he did it with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, bipolar, and there was another thing called, women get it a lot in the lower areas. These cancers, pancreatic and everything, were being destroyed were being shattered like glass by these waves that were going into them. So I'm just saying, anybody out there with these ailments, you might want to look into these doctors that I just spoke on, and maybe get another diagnosis rather than well, let's just say right now they're going pretty well with pills and radiation, whereas Pythagoras knew about it. He knew that they didn't like him back then because he didn't operate on anybody. He used color and sound. I'll go into that another time. But it started, I mean, I knew about that way back when, and now we got these machines that are able to do these things. So I'm just saying, it's something to look into if anybody has any of these ailments. So, happy Sunday. And be well. Aloha.